Hey, how's it going, my friends? So I've had a question come through on the channel many times, and I wanted to address it. I think it could be helpful to many gardeners out there. If you're looking to maybe create a raised bed, you want a more natural appearance, or maybe you're just on a budget, and you've seen in my videos how I have these branches building up these raised beds. And you want to know how I put these together, I'm going to share that with you now. So these are actually hugelkultur beds. And that's just made by trenching about 2 to 3 feet in the ground, putting in branches like what you see, building up the sidewalls of these beds, and then putting in other organic material, leaves, grass clippings, what have you, and then topping that with soil, creating a little mound. And over time, what I ended up doing is building up these sidewalls using branches from some of the trees in the yard. And this has been great because it created more of a raised bed where I can then fill and have a level top on my hugelkultur. But even if you weren't doing hugelkultur, you were just trying to build a raised bed, you could use the same technique here to help to retain the soil and have an elevated bed. Perhaps maybe you don't have the best soil in your yard. Well, a raised bed could be a great solution for you in that case, as you can control what kind of soil you're growing in. So if you got clay or rock or just, contaminated soil, raised beds are the way to go. So let me show you how I went about putting these together. So you can see every 3 to 4 feet, I didn't measure it out, I drove down these stakes, and these are called nail stakes. I've got one in my hand here to show you an example. These are made of steel, they're 3/4 inch in diameter, they last a lifetime, they come in different sizes between 18 and 42 inches I believe. I prefer the largest size, the 42 inch, because then I can drive them down a couple feet into the ground and have a real sturdy brace for these branches. So I just took these branches and I weaved them in and out. So you can see here I started on the inside of this stake, and the next stake were on the outside. So I weaved it in, then inside and outside. And this has worked wonderfully. It's held these sidewalls together. I think it looks good. And then again, it's allowed me now to have this flat top on my hugelkultur, which I can add some good soil in. So if you're doing something like this, you're going to have some gaps obviously in the branches. So a good way to keep that soil contained and just use this as a wall would be to line the inside with materials like cardboard. You could even use something like a garden plastic or something, although not my favorite way of doing it, but you could use pretty much anything to just contain that soil. The real deal here is the wall, the construction. So you have something that's not going to just collapse once you fill it up with soil. So these garden stakes, or rather these nail stakes, are made for concrete forming, and you can pick them up at your big box stores, Lowe's, Home Depot. They usually come in a pack of 10, and they're between $5 and $8, something like that. I actually picked up a bunch of these from somebody who was moving, and they had a bunch of stuff they were giving away. So I ended up with a whole bunch of these, and they're great because not only could you use them for something like this, but I've used them in the past for training my fruit trees as well. You can pound them a few feet away from the tree and tie a line. And again, if you can get the longer ones and pound them in, they're real sturdy. These guys won't bend. So here's my other bed here. Again, just weaving them in and out, just like a wattle fence. Now, before I actually used these stakes, I was using branches because I wanted to keep it all natural. So I had made some branch stakes that I had pounded in, but unfortunately they rotted out just in the first year. That's the whole concept here with the hugelkultur, is that this wood breaks down and becomes part of the soil profile. So by having these metal stakes rather than the wood stakes, it's going to keep everything in place. So the bottoms aren't going to rot out. So I find it to be a great way to utilize some of the organic material that you have in your yard, building up hugelkultur bed or building sidewalls and raised beds using these type of techniques. And personally, I really like the way it looks. It can save you an awful lot of money versus buying, plank wood or fence boards to build your raised beds. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. I'd encourage you all to find creative, low-cost, and natural techniques to grow food in your garden. It should be fun, easy, and rewarding. And whenever you can utilize materials that are free or that might be right there on site, that's the best. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.